it's occurred to me that I've been talking to a lot of you about when you want to sell something, go to an antique co-op, and that a lot of you probably have never been to an antique shop. So today I'm at the old brick house shops in historic Lids, PA, and I'm going to take you on a little tour of the shop, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit about how a co-op works. So this is a great shop. It's owned by people I've known and actually sold antiques to for quite a few years now, Chris and her husband Jim. And it's in this beautiful old building in, as I said, historic Lids, Pennsylvania. So what is a co-op? So it's an antique shop. They own the building. And what they do is they take, in this instance, each room is rented out to a different antique dealer. And the antique dealer picks out different things that they want to sell. And they come in and they make up their displays. It's a great shop because it's very eclectic. They have antiques, they have collectibles, and they have a lot of vintage items. So there's a little bit of something for everyone here. So your co-ops are different. Some of them are in old barns, some are in old warehouses, some, like this, is in an old house. So what they generally do is they will mark off certain areas, like in an old barn or an old warehouse, they might have a 10 by 10 space, and they have a lot of those marked off. And then, of course, your antique dealer rents that space from them. Some of your dealers will deal in just a mix of things. Some are very specific in what they do. Some will just do maybe military items. Some will do like 1940s, 50s, and 60s children's toys. Some just jewelry. Some may just do Pyrex. So it's different in every co-op as to what you're going to find. Some of your dealers will also carry furniture. Some stick to a specific period. Some may just do smaller pieces like blanket chests and things like that. So often you will ask me how you should go about selling the antiques that you have. And I'll tell you, go to an antique co-op. So what you want to do is take pictures and go in and visit. Now, the person you talk to at the desk may be the owner. It may just be someone who works at the co-op. Really large co-ops, you usually will have your different stand holders will put in a certain amount of time also manning the desk. Show them the pictures. If they're not interested in buying them, they may be able to point you in the direction of someone who would. So understand how this works. When I'm downsizing someone and we've set aside some things that I think can be sold, I will give them the name of the antique dealer I want them to call. When that dealer gets that call, they know because of the fact that I gave their name that there's enough there for them to come look at. They'll show up, they'll look through the things, they'll decide what they think they can sell them for, and they'll make an offer to the people. Now, sometimes I've had some of my clients go, well, I thought I'd get more money. But you have to realize that when someone buys stock, so first of all, they're coming in here every couple of weeks. They've got to pay rent on this space. They're coming in every couple of weeks and replenishing their stock. They have to have things set back. So when they buy something, they're usually putting it in a garage or a storage shed somewhere, a barn, and keeping stock back so that they have things to replenish the space. They don't know when they put something out for sale, is it going to sell in a week or is it going to still be here in a year? So they have no idea when the person who wants this is going to come by and get it. Also, lots of times they have to clean things up. I know that the last batch of stuff that I sold to Chris and her husband Jim came out of a storage unit. So I was clearing it out for a client. He gave me permission to go ahead and facilitate the sale of the things. So they came over, so they've got their time to come meet me at the storage unit. They go through everything that I have, and they have to decide what they think they can sell it for, and then they make an offer. I accept that, and that money gets paid to my client. But they have to load the stuff up, take it back to where they're keeping it, which they have a couple different places where they store things, and then they've got to clean it up. Like a piece of furniture coming out of a storage unit, it's not just wiping a dust cloth across it. It usually needs really good heavy-duty cleaning. You've got to get in all the nooks and crannies. Sometimes it might need a little bit of a touch-up on it. I know once I sold a child's rocker to Jim, and I think one of the spindles was missing, and he's pretty handy, and he was able to replace that and then make it look like it fit with the rocker. Dishes, they've got to wash all those up. So there's times when they have to put a lot of work into something before they can even put it into a stand. So, like I said, it's not that easy for the antique dealers. They're having to find the stock, they're having to clean it up, they're having to hold on to it until they have a place to put it in their stand, and then they're hoping it sells relatively quickly. Plus, they've got to be putting their time in coming in. You can't just come in and just like, okay, here's an empty space, I'm going to put something. You've got to constantly be moving your stock around and refreshing the way your space looks, because some people will come to an antique shop on a regular basis. So you've got to move things around. There is so much stuff in these stands that I usually find when I go to a shop. I'll go through the building once and I'll go the opposite direction and go again because there's just so much and it's easy to miss things you want to see. Here I'm going to give you a tour of just this one little room that someone has. Now here we have tobacco tins. We've got cups and saucers. They've got some artwork and things on the walls. A really nice desk, very fabulous desk. And look at that lamp that's on the top of it there. So we've got a few other interesting items here. And over here we've got a dry sink, which is really nice. Again, you have to change your decorations for the season. So people are starting to decorate now for the holidays. Some nice glassware here and some Pyrex. We've got this beautiful washstand, the bowl and pitcher. And look at this absolutely fabulous dresser here. Gorgeous marble top. Things like the milk bottles. And of course, we've got a few Hummels. Beautiful mantle clock. And look at the beautiful glassware that's colored and in the windows. So it's just amazing, all of the wonderful things you can find when you go to an antique shop. Chris tells me they've also started to see a lot of millennials here because they're finally realizing that the furniture that they buy from those places that they put together fall apart. So they're finding that if they buy really good quality antique furniture, not only is it fabulous looking, but that it lasts a long time. They're also buying things like your mid-century modern, your Fiesta ware, your Pyrex. Of course, mid-century modern furniture has been popular for a while now, and it's hard to find. So they're repurposing things. They're taking things like milk bottles and using them as water bottles on their dining room table. So that's the wonderful thing about antiques and collectibles. You can repurpose them and use them for what you want them for, not necessarily what they were originally intended for. So I hope you have enjoyed this tour of the Old Brick House shops. I'm going to put a link in the comments so that you can follow them on Instagram if you'd like. It's just a great shop. And if you get the lids, I hope you stop in and visit them.